Hey guys, this is your host Thomas Tyree here from On the Hot Podcast. Today, this will be episode 204 for you guys today. And to kick off this week's episode, I'll be discussing what is going on right now in the NBA playoffs for both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. So I'll be going over how the playoff series are playing out right now. So we'll start off with the Eastern Conference. So starting off with the number one seeded Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the eighth seeded Miami Heat. They are currently up 1-0 as I record this segment. Game 2 is tonight in the land in Cleveland for this Eastern Conference matchup. Now, I will give the Miami Heat credit. The Miami Heat are the first ever 10th seed in the play-in tournament format to ever make the NBA playoffs. That shows the grit and determination for a Miami Heat team that was nearly 10 games under 500 to even be in this position as an 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. But truthfully, as a Miami Heat fan, I truly wish that they lost the play-in tournament, whether it was the first game or the second game, the first game against the Bulls or the second game against the Hawks, because truthfully, this Miami Heat team, regardless of losing Jimmy Butler or not, needs all the help they can get in order to be a contending team in the Eastern Conference for years and years to come. I thought this year, after the Jimmy Butler trade, we already got a first-round pick from the Golden State Warriors. I thought we really would have been set with a lottery pick. And anything can happen if you have an NBA lottery pick. We could have got as lucky as a 10th, or having a 10th selection all the way down to a 5th selection, or even a top 3 pick. But that won't happen anymore because we're in the playoff format. So based off of what I saw in game 1 with the Miami Heat losing by 21 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, they lack star power without Jimmy Butler by their side. The Miami Heat have gone on several runs this decade alone in the 2020s, with Jimmy Butler being there with 2 NBA Finals appearances, several Eastern Conference Finals appearances. But Jimmy Butler is out in the Bay Area with the Golden State Warriors now. So looking at their matchup against the Cavaliers are a better overall team. They just have the better talent overall with Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and they showed it in game 1 when they scored a combined total of 57 points. So the backcourt duo already has the advantage over this Miami Heat team. The Cavs already have the overall size advantage, and they're the better overall team in fourth quarter situations, which determines how far you can go in the playoffs. And the Miami Heat have been a distraught team in the fourth quarter, arguably the most important quarter in all of sports. And the Miami Heat just don't show up in fourth quarter situations. They fade away from big time moments in ball games, which their opposing teams capitalize on. And that's how other teams have defeated the Miami Heat in the second half of this NBA season. But Ty Jerome even had a great game coming off the bench, had 28 points in game 1. But hopefully the Miami Heat show more fight in this series. But truthfully, I just think the Cleveland Cavaliers are just going to gentlemen sweep the Miami Heat. I mean, they're better overall, better fourth quarter situations. They have the size advantage, the backcourt duo of Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. I think the Cavs are going to put away the Heat within 5 games. So we'll see how this series goes, but I have full confidence that the Cavs are going to put away the Miami Heat. Now, the other series taking place, you have the seventh seeded Orlando Magic taking on the second seeded Boston Celtics. Now, this game also takes place tonight, but as I record this segment, the Celtics are currently up 1-0 in the series. Now, the Celtics did look impressive in game 1, and they cruised to a 17-point victory. And this is the thing about the Boston Celtics. They have so many ways to beat you. And it wasn't even their 2-star players, of Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, that led the Boston Celtics to a victory in terms of points scored in the stat category. It was Derek White. He was on fire throughout this game, scored 30 points. Pat Pritchard, coming off the bench as well, could win his first Sixth Man of the Year award in his NBA career, scored 19 points off the bench. Paolo Pantrio, for the Orlando Magic, he did his thing, and he's obviously the franchise player. He scored 36 points and had 11 rebounds in this ball game. But the thing is, with the Orlando Magic, talent-wise, they don't match up at all to the Boston Celtics. And even though I said in a prediction that the Celtics could escape this series in 6 against the Magic, that was when I saw that Jaylen Brown was not going to be 100% healthy heading into this playoff series. But now with the bruised knee, and he had to take knee injections, Jaylen Brown looked pretty well out there for game 1. So that makes me think, can the Magic even push this to 6? If Jaylen Brown is I would say 80 to 85% healthy, they don't have a chance to push this to 6. And I think the Celtics can get the Orlando Magic out of there by 5. But too many ways to beat you. I'm confident that the Celtics will take care of business in this series. Now, the next series, you have the third-seeded New York Knicks taking on the sixth-seeded Detroit Pistons. Now, this series is tied 1-1 as I record this. This is gonna, man. This is honestly the best series in the Eastern Conference. This is gonna be a long series because you saw in Game 1 where the Pistons had full control over the Knicks in the Garden in that playoff atmosphere. They had the advantage, only to lose a 21-point lead. The New York Knicks never looked back. They took care of business and they won that game. Then in Game 2, you had Cade Cunningham play well, one of the best guards in the NBA this season. Scored 33 points with 12 rebounds. Very fun guard to watch. No foul bait, no spamming the three-point shot, just pure hoops. Dennis Schroeder also stepped up well, hitting a clutch three with 55 seconds to go in Game 2. And then this series, honestly, it's insane to say, but the Pistons can swing this series and never look back. They can win the next 2 games in Detroit. And I feel like now the pressure's on Tom Thibodeau as the coach because you're running players into the ground. Jalen Brunson just played 44 minutes in Game 2. OG played 42 minutes. And my question is with the coaching, why did Cam Payne only play 4 minutes when he was a big difference maker out there in Game 1? So right now, with the momentum swing heading into Game 3 and 4 in Detroit, with New York Knicks fans not being able to be in attendance for this game, this makes me think, can the Pistons swing this series and grab momentum and steal the next 2 on their home court in Detroit? Get your popcorn ready. This is going to be one hell of a series, but I'm liking the direction that the Knicks and the Pistons are going in for the first 2 games that I've seen. In the last series in the Eastern Conference, you have the 4th-seeded Indiana Pacers currently up on the 5th-seeded Milwaukee Bucks. They lead the series right now 2-0. Now, this is going to be another series to pay attention to because Game 1, the Indiana Pacers cruised to a comfortable victory, a blowout victory against the Milwaukee Bucks. The duo Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton balled out in Game 1, but then Game 2, the news came up that Damian Lillard was cleared to play, and that was supposed to be a big boost for the Milwaukee Bucks last night on the road against the Indiana Pacers. But I'm looking forward to this rivalry between the 2 guards of Tyrese Halliburton and Damian Lillard. They were chirping at each other Game 1 when Damian Lillard was on the bench. And then Game 2, they were in each other's faces all over again. The benches had to be cleared to separate these 2 respective players. But in Game 2, the Indiana Pacers were the more physical team again. Pascal Siakam and Tyrese Halliburton had double-double performances to help the Pacers win this ball game. And what it came down to is the Milwaukee Bucks were not going away in this game. It was a close game throughout the entire duration of the 4 quarters. Bobby Portis stepped up for the Milwaukee Bucks coming off the bench, but the Pacers did a great adjustments defensively in order to close the gap and close the door on the Milwaukee Bucks, possibly stealing the game in Indiana. And they made the clutch shots needed to escape with a victory against the Milwaukee Bucks. Now the Milwaukee Bucks are going back home to Milwaukee Friday, down 2-0. They have no momentum in this series. One more, and you might as well say that the Indiana Pacers have this series in the bag because they had the depth advantage. We don't know how Damian Lillard and Giannis can really get the Milwaukee Bucks back into the series. They would have to at least split it 2-2 in Milwaukee to get back into it. And the Bucks were my pick to win this series in 7. But it looks like that the Pacers have the Bucks number right now, and they're just playing well on both ends of the court. The Milwaukee Bucks don't have the answer for them defensively right now, which is a problem. The Indiana Pacers have to feel very comfortable heading into Milwaukee for Game 3 and Game 4 of this series. But let's get into the Western Conference. You have the number 1 seeded Oklahoma City Thunder currently on a 2-0 lead on the 8th seeded Memphis Grizzlies. Now, Game 1, actually, I'm just going to say this whole playoff series right now is belt to ass because at this point, OKC in Game 1 at one particular point in the game had a 54-point lead on the Memphis Grizzlies. And when Ja Morant isn't having fun out there, when he's not having his little gun gestures or throwing grenades into the crowd like he's on Warzone and Call of Duty, he's not that difference maker on the court. And he only had 17 points, shooting 6 for 17 from the field in Game 1. Jaren Jackson was MIA as well in Game 1, only scoring 4 points. That's not playoff success if your 2-star players are going to shy away from the big moments on the road. Then in Game 2 last night, the Oklahoma City Thunder just took the energy out of this Memphis Grizzlies team. And yes, Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson had 20-plus points together. But the fact that the energy wasn't there throughout the game, and you can see the body language out there, John Morant and Jaren Jackson feeling defeated at times because of defensive fits that Oklahoma City Thunder were giving them. It just wasn't showing up to me that they wanted this. And right now, Oklahoma City has actually outscored the Memphis Grizzlies by 70 points in the first 2 games of this series. So, again, I like the direction that this Memphis Grizzlies team, this young Memphis Grizzlies team, can go in. I like the energy that John Morant has on the court. But when the pressure amounts to him, you're not seeing him do the gun gestures. You're not seeing him play with the crowd, throw grenades. No matter how much the NBA has fined this young man, he still wants to be in the streets rather than being a natural hooper because his abilities are there. But they just don't have a shot to dethrone this Oklahoma City Thunder team. And that's why I think they can steal possibly Game 3 or Game 4 in Memphis, but it's going to be a respective gentleman's sweat. They're going to get respectfully gentlemen swept by the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Thunder are going to put this series away by 5. So next series in the West, you have the 7th-seeded Golden State Warriors currently up on the 2nd-seeded Houston Rockets. They currently lead this series 1-0 as I record the segment. Game 2 is tonight. But I said this about the Houston Rockets, and me and my co-host Fred were talking about the scenario of the Warriors and Rockets possibly matching up against each other. Because, yes, the Rockets are the 2nd seed in the Western Conference, but when you lack that playoff experience and you get a bad draw of playing championship caliber players like Steph Curry, who has 4 rings, Draymond Green, who has 4 rings, Jimmy Butler, who has been a sensational playoff player since the 2020s in this decade alone, now all that goes out the window of what you accomplish in the regular season compared to what these players have been through in the postseason. The postseason matters more. And the backcourt duo of Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet scored a combined total of 17 points, shooting 7 for 34 from the field and 21% combined shooting from the field, these 2 guards. The Rockets could not buy a bucket when they needed it. And everyone believed if the Rockets had a legitimate chance of dethroning the Golden State Warriors, it was going to be Amen Thompson's defense on Steph Curry. Well, damn it, you cannot contain the best player on God's green earth that we've ever seen in basketball history. I don't care if he's a great defensive player. If you never did in the playoffs, you don't have the mindset to lock down one of the greatest shooters, no, the greatest shooter of all time. Because Steph Curry showed that in Game 1. He scored 31 points and shot 12 for 19 from the field. So, again, did y'all really believe that Amen Thompson would be able to lock down Steph Curry based off of 1 performance or 2 performances that he did defensively in the regular season against Steph? This is a whole different atmosphere in the playoffs. So, I think the fact that the Warriors are the more experienced team, I can see this going to 6. This series will go to 6, but the Warriors will take care of business and get Houston out in the first round for a big upset. Next series, you have the Los Angeles Lakers and the 3rd seeded Los Angeles Lakers and the 6th seeded Minnesota Timberwolves. That series is currently tied 1-1. Now, this is going to be one hell of a series. Now, based off of Game 1, if the Timberwolves can play the way that they did in Game 1, and they could get, if they play that with that same energy, they could give the Lakers fits and problems in the first round, possibly bounce them out in the first round. Now, the Minnesota Timberwolves have the depth advantage over the Los Angeles Lakers. Jaden McDaniels, you saw in Game 1, scored 25 points. Naz Reid scored 23 points, made 6 3-pointers, and also Anthony Edwards contributed to a total of 22 points in their Game 1 victory. Now, the Timberwolves, they were the more physical team in Game 1, and they had the size advantage over the Los Angeles Lakers. When you look at Rudy Gobert, when you look at Naz Reid, when you look at Julius Randle, they have the size advantage with those 2 centers and that power forward alone to what Jackson Hayes that the Lakers have. So that should be something that they should be doing to take advantage of this Lakers small ball lineup. But then you look at the game last night, the Lakers came out firing, and I think that little trash talk, the little friendly rivalry between Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic got Luka Doncic going, because in the first quarter, he outscored the Timberwolves alone by himself. And then he had a big game, scored 31 points last night. Him and LeBron James scored a combined total of 51 points last night. So I like the Game 2 adjustments that J.J. Redick had. He held his players accountable. They made the adjustments on both ends of the court. And now we got one hell of a series, 1-1. I still got the Lakers in 6, but this could easily go to Game 7. Now, I really wouldn't be, if the Timberwolves can utilize their size, their depth to their advantage, they could possibly upset the Lakers around 1. But I'm still sticking with my prediction of the Lakers in 6. And the last but not least series going on in the Western Conference for the first round, you have the fourth seeded Los Angeles Lakers, the fourth seeded Denver Nuggets taking on the fifth seeded Los Angeles Clippers. This series tied 1-1. And I think this is the best playoff series in the Western Conference right now, based off of game 1 and game 2 being so competitive, being so close, coming down to the wire. In game 1, Russell Westbrook showed why it's important to have a veteran piece coming off the bench for you, a former MVP caliber player, hitting the clutch shot that was needed in game 1 and being a difference maker on both ends of the court. The inbound steal or the inbounds out of bounds play that resulted in a turnover for the Houston Rockets that Russell Westbrook was a part of. He can play well on both ends of the court, and that's something you need if you're going to dethrone a well-rounded team like the Los Angeles Clippers. And then in game 2, Kawhi erupted in game 2. I said a healthy Kawhi is a problem for the Western Conference moving forward. He scored 39 points, shot 15 for 19 shooting from the field. The rest of the team played well, shooting a combined total of 39% from the field. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a series in the Western Conference. So that's going to be something I pay attention to as the playoffs go on. I'm still sticking with my prediction with the Clippers in 6 based off of the Clippers having Kawhi Leonard and James Harden that are balling out. They have the coaching advantage of Ty Lue and the interim that's over there in Denver. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I apologize, but they're a better defensive team. The depth players of Zubac, Noel Powell, Derek Jones Jr., they got done. They got the better players right now than the Denver Nuggets, so I'm still sticking with the Clippers in 6. But those are my thoughts on the NBA playoffs. The first round is taking place in the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference right now, this NBA playoffs.